Welcome to assignment 4. In this assignment, we're going to discuss 2 songs and the riffs that apply to those songs. But these songs have something in common. They use a chord progression called the 1-4-5, which is simply the first note of any key. In this case, we'll go with C, is 1, and we go up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got our 4th note, which is F, 4th chord, and then 5, G7. Now we've learned C and G7 in our last assignment. Our new chord is F, which I will show you right now. We are going to approach this chord using our first finger, covering 2 strings. 1, 2. This is going to be a little bit of adjustment for you. Our middle finger is going to play the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and our 3rd finger is going to play the 3rd fret of our D string, our 4th string. This will take a little getting used to, but work on it slowly. Right now, I'm going to show you a diagram of these chords in succession, starting with C, F, and G7. Okay, here we go. Here's C. It's our first chord. Then we go to F. Then G7. Here's C again. F. G7. Here is our F major chord. Our first finger is going to cover our E string and our B string like this. Now you can see I'm kind of turning my finger. It's not straight flat on like this. It's a little bit to the side of the finger here. Okay? Like that. Our second finger is going to play the 2nd fret of our G string, and our 3rd finger is going to play the 3rd fret of our D string. We're going to strum right here. Now look closely. 1, 2, 3, 4. There will be some buzzing at first, but just find that sweet spot on the guitar and rotate your finger until you can get these 2 notes to sound, and then these 3 notes, and then finally and that's F. What's important about these riffs is that the riff actually coincide with the shape of the chord. When you start the riff, you're going to start the riff in a shape of a chord you're playing. So this is really important to know your chords. This is why we're spending a little time on F. Though you won't play the full F, you'll definitely play the shape. So let's look at exercise 1. Here we have the intro lick to La Bamba. Classic riff, everyone knows it, really fun to play. But when we look at it, we'll notice that we start in a G7 shape. And then we line up to a C shape. And then we move to F. G7. So when I play it up the tempo, you'll see the chords in my left hand. So when we look at exercise 1, those first 3 notes, we start with our 3rd finger. It's as if we have a G7 in place. So our fingers are already ready to go. And then here we form a C. Then we form the F. Open G. We lift our fingers up and then go back to the G7 shape. Which leads us right into exercise 2, which is the same riff except we're looping it. If we were strumming this, which I did not write out, but you know a few strums now. You could get through this. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. So the strum is basically following the rhythm of the riff. Here, that note is anticipated. It's on the and of 4. Okay, I'll zoom in and give you a closer look at that riff. Okay, here it is, zoomed in. We start in our G7 shape. We're going to pick down through everything. Starting here with the 3rd fret of our 3rd string. Open A, 2nd finger, 2nd fret of our A string, which is the note B. And then we form a C chord. Do that again for you. Now notice, as soon as I play this note, all my fingers land at the same time and prepare to play the next 3 notes. Here it is again. Now what I'm going to do here is play this note and then play the next note in the chord and play the next note in the chord. So I'm going to strum down the 5th string, the 4th string, and the 3rd string, which is C, E, G. Notice my left hand, nothing's changing. And my picking is down, and I'm resting on the next string below it, playing that, and playing that. You don't want to try to up pick or do anything like that. Everything is set up in an economy style picking. So once again. Now here we're going to take these 2 fingers and move them back to form the F chord. Now you don't have to bend this finger down. You can keep it as is because we're not going to play that note. But these 2 fingers here, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of your D string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your G string. We're going to play those 2 notes, the D string, the 4th string, the G string, the 3rd string, and then we're going to play the 3rd string again, but we're going to play it open. So here it is, slowly. Open. Okay, once again, from the beginning. C. Move these 2 fingers back. Open. One more time. Now, the last part. Here it is. We go back to G7. We play this note on the 6th string, the 5th string, and then the open D. We let go. 3rd finger here on the 3rd fret of the D string. Twice. E, open D, and then back to C. Once again. One more time. Here's exercise 1 and 2 played back to back. Now remember, when you pick through this, it's all down picking. We're not going to pick up at all. It's all down. Moving on to exercise 3, 4, and 5. This is Twist and Shout by the Beatles. Same 3 chords, just in a different key. We are in the key of D. So our first chord would be D, that's a 1 chord. The 4 chord would be G, and the 5 chord would be an A7. Okay, we should all be very familiar with these chords now. The riff to this song is very similar to La Bamba. That La Bamba riff inspired a lot of people to write tunes that sort of sounded similar but used the same shape of that riff. And the Beatles used it too. Here is example 3. Like La Bamba, we start on the 5 chord, but we don't have to form the A7 shape. We start with the open string, first finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the 4th fret, and then open D. Here we form a D chord. So once again, A, B, C sharp, D. Chord, 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 chord. Now on my right hand, everything is downstrokes and downward picking. Now sometimes I add an upstroke. Once you get comfortable with the song, then you can start adding upstrokes. But when you pick through this, I highly recommend you use downward picks, so that you're resting on the string below the string you just played. Has more power, has more beef to the sound. Some of you might want to go. I strongly encourage you to use all downstrokes. Okay, I'll zoom in and play this for you. Now, here's example 3. Zoomed in and slowed down. Open A, first finger on the 2nd fret B here, 3rd finger on the 4th fret here, C sharp, and then open D. Those are the first 4 notes. Now I'm going to form a D chord, play that twice, G, then A7. All downstrokes in the right hand, downward picking. And away you go. Now we're going to look at exercise 4 and 5. This riff happens in the middle of the song. Both George and John are playing this riff together, but in harmony. So that's why there are 2 different lines. This sets up the big ah push in the middle of the song. Let's look at exercise 4. Now you notice I'm in 2nd position, first finger on the 2nd fret, and I'm starting off with my pinky here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and show you a closer look at those notes. But right now, let's look at exercise 5 as well. This is the harmony part. Since we can't play this together at the same time, I will go ahead and play one section, exercise 4, a few times so you can practice playing the riff on top, or you can play it with me. I'm going to zoom in right now and let you take a closer look at this riff. Here's exercise 4. Pinky on the 5th fret of our 5th string. Twice. Then we're going to move the pinky to the 5th fret of our 4th string. Okay, so like this. Once again, a little closer. Now the next part, we're going to use our 3rd finger and play the 4th fret of our 3rd string. After that, we're going to play the 2nd fret of our 3rd string. Now watch slowly. time. Now, with this first finger, we're going to play the second fret of our D string, our fourth string, and play the fifth fret of our D string and the fourth fret. So that's the position for the last three notes. Exercise 5. This happens at the same time as exercise 4. Starting here with our third finger, still in the second position. Third finger right there on the fourth fret of our fourth string. Twice. Fourth fret of our third string. Third fret of our second string. So, once again. Now we play an open G. Fourth fret with our third finger. Back here, so. Open here. Now back to the fourth fret here. Everything down picking. Don't pick up. Push through. Okay, I'm going to play exercise 4 right now, the lower riff. You can practice along with me so you can work out the fingerings. Then, when you feel comfortable, try exercise 5 over this exercise 4 riff. I'm going to play it 6 times for you. Then I'm going to play it closer to tempo. Here's our first time around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second time. Fourth time. Sixth time. So you can rewind this part, practice the riff with me, so you can get the timing correct. Okay, I'm going to play it again 4 times, up to tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it for assignment 4. As always, practice slowly. Listen to the recordings. Listen to Richie Valens' La Bamba and Los Lobos' La Bamba. Listen to Twist and Shout so you can get a feel of the rhythm. Take your time with that F chord. It will take a few days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks to really get comfortable with barring those 2 strings. But it'll happen. And as always, have a good time with this. Thanks so much. See you soon.